Josh here. And yeah, where have I been? Well, things got really busy for me in my professional life. And because this whole channel is just something I do for fun on the side, I just didn't have the time amongst my other responsibilities to get around to making content. Even with all the excellent information that Eric's Curiosa released in that long video just recently, as well as some of the additional things they've done since, I just could not find the time. And I'm just going to be honest with all of you, things are still moving very rapidly, so I may not be making content quite as often. I do hope to eventually get back to at least once a week, but for right now, probably the next couple of months, things may be a little spotty. That being said, my thoughts on that video. For me, it was good. I'm glad that they finally took the time to produce something like that, to talk to us about what's going on, what's happening. I think that's very important to keep the community aware of where they're at in the process. I would still really like to see some sort of a timeline or a roadmap, but this was something finally coming out. Hey, this is where we're at in the production line of these things. Now, for me personally, while the video covered a lot of things, for me, the thing that I think that Eric's Curiosa has struggled with the most is logistics. So the business conversation at the end of the video was really where I was paying a lot of attention. All of the early stuff was great, stuff that we're all going to be excited about, that I'm going to make videos about, hopefully. All that stuff was fantastic. You know, what's happening with Gothic, the paintings, the avatars, all the fun things. That is fantastic. But for me, that's not really ever been Sorcery's problem. They have made an excellent game. The bones of that are in place. Yeah, there'll be new mechanics, but adding a new mechanic is not the same as designing a whole game. So we've already got that in place. In terms of the artistic side, they've always knocked that out of the park. That's not been an issue. In terms of theme, they've done really well. So those things for Eric's Curiosa have been, or at least appear to have been, very easy. Whereas on the logistics side, like any new business, that has been a struggle. And I think that's fair to say for most new businesses. Getting down the logistics is tough. It's just not easy, especially when you're dealing with international manufacturing and shipping and all the things that come into play when you're launching a worldwide product. So that's really where I was looking at that. And I was listening to everything on that business part of the video and what they were saying there. There were a lot of things I was very excited about. I was stunned that we're getting binders again already. I thought for sure binders were going to be shelved for like 18 months before any word of that ever happened again. So I am very, very happy to hear that those binders are going to be back. They're going to double check, make sure that everything fits right this time. Looking forward to ordering those, getting my hands on those, and actually using them. They won't just be on display like this one back here. They will be something that I will use. So I'm looking forward to getting my hands on those. The other thing, they talked a little bit about Dragon Lord, 13 cards. The one thing that the 13 card thing, they talked about randomization and collation and how that's not as big of an issue with this set. And again, this gets back to how they're going to package a 13 card product and the concerns I have for packaging a 13 card product, especially if we're talking about randomization. There was a set that Magic the Gathering created called March of the Machine Aftermath that was 50 cards. It was not well received at all. I think the boxes for that product got extremely, extremely low. So the idea that we're going to have a 13 card product with randomization, that causes a lot of concern for me as to how that's going to work. Because I don't want to buy, let's say a product that's, 10 booster packs or 12 booster packs or however they package it. And we're dealing with randomization. And every time I open this pack, it's 13 cards. So is a pack going to be 5 cards or 4 cards? that was just odd. So maybe, and I'm misinterpreting it. It was the way it was said, randomization and collation, literally that it's been eliminated. It's not something they're worried about. But if that's happening, I still wonder how can there be randomization with 13 cards and it be a product that people are going to want to buy? There's going to have to be some huge chase. And even then, for people like me, I don't do the chase. I don't look for curios. I don't look for foils. I just want the cards I need to play with. So I just have a lot of concerns with that little segment and what they said. I'm glad they're going back and tweaking some things and revising it. I definitely want these cards, since there's so few, I want them to have an impact on the game. But if we're talking about there's going to be random packs with 13 cards, I'm not sure. I don't know how you make that work. They're smarter than me, so hopefully they've got a plan. But I personally, especially looking at that product that Magic made that failed so hard, and it was 50 cards, I just don't know. I don't know how 13 cards, random cards, if it was a pack where you got full play sets of the 13 cards, it was fixed, okay, but I don't know. So it's going to be very interesting to see when that product launches. My guess, personally, I'm still thinking we're looking at late May, early June at the earliest. I'd like to see it sooner than that, but if they're still dealing with samples of the product, you're going to have to print all the product, ship all the product. That's just as soon as I can see that product finally reaching the retail market. The other great things, though, that on the video that I really did like, talked about the store kits, what they're doing with those, why it was tied into a reprint with beta and why that was needed. And there was a good argument about, we couldn't really talk to stores and get involved with stores because there was not product on shelves. And I personally held off on starting my Sorcery community locally because there wasn't any product on shelves, and I wanted to have Arthurian Legends to fill that hole. So I understand that argument. Now we just got to get the product and do what we need to do with the stores to convince them to take it on, to grow a community, and all those things. So that was nice to hear. A little bit more talk about that. The one other thing, and they just touched on it, and it was actually Chase that brought it up. He was like the ambassadors. I don't know where that could just have been the statement they made. Well, anyone in the community who's been trying to grow the game is an ambassador, or are we actually talking about a real program? A real program, whether it's I've got to assume it's a judge program, but maybe it's a combination of both. Like, not only are they going to have folks who are judges, but the judges are also going to have this other element of trying to build communities and be local community managers. Maybe that's a good way to put it. I'm sure they'll have some fun name for that, whatever that is, whatever that role is. But I'm really interested in that. I'm hoping they roll that program out this year. If there is a program, I'd be very interested in that. And I'm sure many of you who watch this channel, who I've met, you'd also be interested in engaging in something like that as well. There was one more thing. Let me see. Real quick, the card that they showed, the Gift of the Frog. Cool. Glad to see frogs back again. Doesn't seem like it's a card that's really going to make a huge splash. But, it's a card. It's a card, and they've shifted strategy, and we're going to see more of Gothic for the lead up to Gothic, which, again, I think is great. Let's give us more previews. Let's see more of those cards. If this is a really large set, let's see 25% of it. Let's see 30% of it. If we're talking 400 cards, show me 100 cards by the time Gothic releases, whenever that is. Let's see 100 cards. That still leaves 300. That's a nice big chunk of cards that's going to be secret, and that's going to be great. Show me 100. Let's roll them out. Let's see what we can see, and, show us one or two of the spicy ones. Not just, these are all the ordinaries in the set, or something like that. So I think that is very good. I think that's very cool. I think it was interesting that they mentioned that the dearth of media activity they were concerned about, and that they're looking to rectify that. I think that's great. I've said that many times. Regular communication, regular things to allow those of us in the community, to talk the game up, to keep promoting it, to keep making videos. That's very important for the overall growth of the game. And finally, the last piece I want to talk about, the competitive side of the game. Finally acknowledged. They've acknowledged it before, but I feel like this mention of the competitive community was very directed. We realize and understand there is a group of people, myself included, who want to have a competitive group of people who play the game at a higher level. It's not their intention to make the game hyper-competitive, which they've always stated. That's always been the road. We should all be aware of that. Some of us, myself included, have wanted it to be more competitive than the vision ever was. That's just not going to happen. We all have to accept that. I'm going to accept that, and that's the way it is. But it's clear now that they do understand there is a large segment in the community that wants that, and they're taking the steps to make it happen. Obviously, with IRA and the Codex, that's going to be the clarification of the rules that's going to allow us to build that competitive community. Because without a concise and clear rule set and clear rulings, there's a lot of messiness in sorcery rules. Without that clear, concise document that IRA is building, we can't build this competitive community. We have to have this first. We have to have this concise document that deals with all the fun corner cases and the weird interactions. We've got to have that. But it's nice to see that not only do we have IRA, but now we have the rest of the team saying, hey, we know this is what the community wants. We are working to make that a reality within the restrictions of our vision of the game not being hyper-competitive. That's good. That's good. That's what I wanted to hear. I like that acknowledgement. I like that it was finally, yes, we want to make this happen. We really thought those big events were cool, and we want to see more of those. And that's never been an issue. I think Eric's Curiosa has always been very happy about the events that community members have put all that money and time into making because they love the game so much. But it's nice to finally see them say, not only do we really like these events, we want to see more of these events, and we're going to take the steps to make it happen. That is very cool. Makes me very happy. It's what I wanted to see. Now, going forward, I don't know what they're going to show, don't know what they're going to tell us, but the communication needs to be regular. It was nice that they did the little thing with the card, but let's keep doing some little things. For example, that video was very long. Could that video have been broken up into chunks and released throughout the month so that there's a constant build and a constant churn? So rather than making this huge long product, which I liked the long product, maybe let's chunk it out to get the media to be a regular thing that we're getting. I think that would help. That's just my opinion. Maybe, with as long as that video is, there's a lot I could talk about, a lot I can go into detail in. Not even touched the creative side. So there's a lot of videos I can make from that. A lot of things I can talk about. A lot of things all the other community folks like myself who make videos, a lot of things they can all talk about as well. So that's good. But I do think something like that video that's chunked out all the time where we get 10 minutes about, 10 minutes about production of Dragonlord, 10 minutes about production of Gothic, 10 minutes about the art of Gothic, 10 minutes of, an interview with an artist about the pieces they did or a piece of art that they did for Gothic. And, we're going to reveal the card at the end of that artist interview. Here's the card too. Stuff like that. I think that's what Eric's Curiosa needs to do. I hope that's the shift they're making. It certainly sounds like it's the shift they're making to me. Overall, though, I was very happy with that video. I'm feeling a lot better about where we may be headed. Now, they got to keep it up. If they don't keep it up, then if we're back to silence, that's not going to work. We need it to be kept up. Keep on giving us information. Let us build this community. Let us help Eric's Curiosa build the community. Let's see if they do it. I don't know. I hope they do. I think they will. I think that's the plan. It sounds like the plan. So, very excited for it. Even if right now I might not be as involved with it as I'd like to be. One other thing I did host my first event. It was very small. Didn't have a lot of folks show up, but it was nice to actually host an event that I did run. Going to keep on doing that. I hope all of you out there are also doing that. I was fortunate enough to be able to attend an event up at 5-6 Gaming. Is it 5-6 Game Store? 5-6 Game Store in Ohio. I think it was Pickerington, Ohio. That was a nice event. A lot of great prizes. Glad to meet and talk with everyone up there. That's what we need, though. Everyone out there having these events, even if they're small. Look, I had an event. It was very small. My first event, it was very small, other than the casual meetups that I have. But in terms of a tournament, my first tournament, it was very small. The timing actually ended up being off. It was on Valentine's Day weekend. I didn't think that'd be a big deal, but turns out it was a big deal, especially since the weekend before was that event that I went up to at 5-6 Gaming. So a lot of people had driven to that. So it kind of limited where everyone could go. But I'm going to keep on trying. I'm going to have another tournament. So if you're in the Indiana area and would like to come to a tournament, be on the lookout for that. And I will, get that posted. It's probably going to be the end of March. I think it's going to be a draft. So very excited to do a draft. This first one was constructed. So very excited to try a draft format and see how that plays out. But that is it for today. Again, I'm going to keep trying, guys. But remember, this is just me having fun. I don't make any money from this. I have a family. I have a professional career. So things might be spotty for a little bit. Just for a little bit until I can get through some of the crazy things that are happening right now. And then once I get through all that, hopefully I can get back to regular content on a regular basis. I think we're coming up on 100 videos. I'm going to have 100 videos. That's very exciting. I want to try to do something special for that, but I think this is like 99. So I have to do something special for it. And so I don't know. The timing's not going to work out right, but I'll figure it out. In any case, as always, keep on contesting the realm.